Greetings.
Greetings.
We continue with our theme, living in a world of illusion. Who's driving your bus? To reiterate, we now realize we live in a world of illusion, and that we shared last week that what we think, we do not think. What we see, what we think we see, we don't see. What we think we feel, we don't feel. What we think we hear, we don't hear. Regardless to what we think, it is not what it is. We live in a world of illusion until we make a decision to live beyond the world of illusion, and it is up to us. Julian Huxley wrote, who is a transhumanist, and I read, "It is as if man has been suddenly appointed managing director of the biggest business of all, the big business of evolution, appointed without being asked if he wanted it, and without proper warning and preparation. What is more, he can't refuse the job, whether he wants to or not, whether he is conscious of what he is doing or not. He is, in fact, determining the future direction of evolution on Earth. That is his inescapable destiny. And the sooner he realizes it and starts believing in it, the better for all concerned." Our selection, we are all angels. Julian Huxley, I think the reading from Julian Huxley simply states who you are. Our message this morning gives us 3 more ideas of how to live beyond the world of illusion. To reiterate, sure, we live in a world of illusion until we realize that this world is composed of spiritual ideas that have been filtered through our belief system, and the events are perceived by what we believe, not what it is. As conscious spiritual beings, we must have some basic ideas in place, and that is have a foundation from which to build our new world, to live beyond the world of illusion. To define illusions in the simplest terms is simply a copy of, a copy of, a copy of, a copy of, ad infinitum. As an example, everything we see in form is a spiritual idea. This cup, this mic, everything we see, everything we touch, everything we feel is simply a copy of a spiritual idea. The problem is with illusion is that it is a soul activity, and the result of the mind aspect of all the souls in manifestation. In other words, we created this state of illusion. And last week, just to clarify, last week we used the idea of purchasing clothing, and we discussed it at in our Q&A, and we did not remember to remind you that clothing is the spiritual idea, of wisdom. And that is when we want to buy something to clothe our body, our soul is simply calling for wisdom. It is our soul which is immersed in illusion, and it is up to us as personalities to bring clarity to the ideas that are set through the soul. And remember, we said that all ideas come from spirit, and our perception of that idea determines our ideal. Let me repeat that again. All ideas come from our spirit, and our perception of that idea determines our ideal. We shared last week for our first problem was wrong perception. What we see is not what we see. Dr. Holmes said that whatever it is that we see, feel, or think, we must do something with it. He said, take it to substance and dissolve the idea into substance. For whatever we think we want is our soul calling for us for substance of the 7 hours. As we gave you the example of clothing, outer garment. Our second idea was wrong interpretation. And because our minds have not been fully developed to experience the fullness of our spirit, we misinterpret many ideas. We are at a standstill between interpreting the difference between thought forms and intuition, between conscious thought and unconscious thought, between our thought and that of the race. The remedy is to go back to square one. Do some talking to yourself and let it clear in your mind what it is. What is the substance for food, for rest, for sleeping, for driving? Play with those ideas. And by doing so, it gives us less time to drive out of our lane. Who's driving your bus? Our third idea was wrong application. As an example, when I am hungry, my soul is calling for substance of new ideas. Instead of reading inspirational material, listening to uplifting music, I run for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, toasted that is, and whatever I want to eat is the substance of that food that the soul needs. And let me repeat that again. Sometimes we say, as an example, I want chicken, or I want fish, or I want beef, or I want greens, I want kale. Whatever food there is, whatever food that we crave, our soul is saying, I need that substance. And for everything there is substance. There's spiritual substance in everything. So whatever it is that we want, we can always take that, as Dr. Holmes said, to the level of substance. And when we take it to the level of substance, love, joy, peace, wisdom, beauty, life, and power, then we receive that essence. Our soul receives that essence. It will be necessary to meditate, contemplate, and apply the laws to live beyond the world of illusion, to drive your own bus. It will be necessary to change the way we think, and that is the purpose for our practice, our consistent practice of affirmations and affirmations. This morning, our repetition was, I am the beloved. I am the beloved. And when I say that, I feel the essence of the word, of the power that is within the word. I am beloved. I am the beloved. Today we share 3 more ideas with you, and the first thought is the wrong appropriation of ideas. Misappropriation of ideas is based upon the drama-making faculty. And we spoke about how we go off into drama last week. And our tendency as personality is to assert our little ego, which is drama, jump out of our lane into illusions that are showing up. We forget it is not our trip. It is the soul longing for us to live beyond illusion, to drive in our lane. The cause is that we overestimate our personality and think we are running the universe. The cure is a steady attempt to decentralize the life from the personality and to center it in the soul. In other words, be consistent with our spiritual practices. A second idea is through wrong direction of ideas. Wrong direction of ideas. All ideas, as I say, are not for us to take some action. Dr. Holmes said, but we must recognize all ideas. And recognizing the idea, you see, the idea starts here. And when we recognize that this idea of my wanting candles is my soul calling for light down here in my body, then when I recognize that I don't have to go and buy the candles, or I don't have to go and light the candle, I simply begin my spiritual practice of I am love, I am the beloved, I am one with God, God is my source. I look to that which is within me for everything that I want to do. When we take those ideas and take them in the wrong direction, we bring disaster into our life. And the cure is to train our mind to be inclusive. Ask yourself, what is this for? Do I need to take some action? What action do I need to take in order to move through this experience? From our textbook. Page 264. He gave a treatment that will be of great service, he said, in acquainting the mind with the truth of its being. Let us read together that first paragraph, page 264, fourth paragraph. Yeah. Together, be still and know that I am God. I am the Christ, the Son of the living God within me. I am the principle of peace within me. I am the manifestation of love within me. My mind is poised in peace and beauty. All sense of fear or doubt is gone. I rest in calm trust and rely on the law of spirit to bring good into my experience. Our third, I was going to do that later, the next one. Our third and last idea is through wrong integration of ideas. There's a divine pattern for everyone on the planet. Dr. Holmes called it, we call it divine plan. There is a plan for you down here. There is a pattern here for you to perfect as personality. So when we begin to work with the ideas of the attributes of God, love, joy, peace, wisdom, beauty, life, and power, we are building that man that is not made by hand. And that man lives at this place. That man is our spirit, is that which we are. And it is simply up to us to bring that substance down from descending to spirit. Bring the substance of love, joy, peace, wisdom, beauty, life, and power down into our body. And Dr. Holmes said, neutralize it, spiritualize it, and send it back up to our spirit. That's all we need to do. Jesus said, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And as long as we are working with the ideas of those 7 ops, then we know we are on the right track. The cause of wrong integration of ideas is the selfish grasping of the little self and the illusion of the idea for selfish reason. The cue is a humble spirit. And I think that one of my most trying experiences when I was trying to perfect this personality was that of becoming humble. Because when we become humble, we become vulnerable. And we don't want to become vulnerable before we lose our power. And if we lose our power, then we think people walk on us. And that's true in this world. Because we look for power outside. When we look for power within us, power comes from within us. And when that power comes forth, then that is the state of humility. Let's read that fifth paragraph. I contend with none, argue with none, and am filled with wonderful peace and light. There's no uncertainty about my future, and no fear as a result of my past. I live in an eternal now, which is filled with good alone. Goodness and beauty follow me. Peace and joy accompany me. Happiness and wholeness fill my entire being with the realization of love and perfection. In closing, do you want to live in a different world of thought? Join me this week in being conscious of how we appropriate, direct, and integrate the ideas that move through us and live in a world beyond illusion to drive our own bus. Let us together treat our mind with page 265. Lord, speak to me in ways I can understand. Amen. Let us begin. I am the Christ,
the Son of the living God within me. This inner mind of mine is now divine and complete. It has no worries and no fears. It is whole, complete, and satisfied. I look back over all previous experience and find that it was good, very good. I look forward to the future and find that it is good and very good. I look at the present and find that it is also good and very good. God is in all, over all, and through all.
I am the
Christ, the Son of the living God within me. I am the spirit of confidence. I am voiced in love and reason. I am the perfect law of truth and the complete presence of beauty. I am Christ, the Son of the living God within me.
And as we leave this place, you're guarded, guided, and protected, arriving at your destination safe and sound, remaining under the spiritual umbrella of Inner Light Center for Spiritual Living, shining your light wherever you go as you go out into the marketplace. Others are healed by your presence. That is our desire. We give thanks that this is so right now, and so it is, and so we let it be. That's it. Your turn.